Peace, family. And I want to say welcome back to those of you that took the time out of your day to tune in to the first episode of Murdered by the City, Tortured by the County, and Buried by the State. I thank you. And to those of you that are being introduced to me for the first time, welcome to my new channel, Denali Vision. I'm a father. My name is LeVar Anderson, and my son Denali Anderson was savagely murdered on August 6, 2022 at an underage drinking party in Pasco, Washington, by a group of teenagers that call themselves the Tri-City Blitz Gang. Now, I want to make this clear right now. I'm not making these videos to do harm to anyone. What's done is done. And do I like to do this? No. But I can't even grieve in peace. So if your name ain't Bennett, you ain't in it. But hit dogs holler. I'm here to tell my truth, and I welcome all questions and comments, good or bad, or however difficult they might be, and encourage feedback. But if the truth hurts, tough luck. Grow thicker skin, because I would gladly trade you for a murdered child. You know, most late night, early morning calls aren't usually good news. So imagine getting a call at almost midnight from your son's mother saying that your son was shot. Not murdered, shot. And the part you can't make up is she already knew he was dead because her quote-unquote cousin, the same one who set my son up, and I brought receipts on that, on paper, in writing from a Blitz gang member who was man enough to keep it real with me after I wrote him in jail, and I give the guy respect for that. This is the same one on $10,000 bail for rendering criminal assistance. Now, as used in RCW 9A.76070.080 and .090, a person renders criminal assistance if, with the intent to prevent, hinder, or delay the apprehension or prosecution of another person who he or she knows has committed a crime. Now, you know he committed the crime. You asked him if you need more bullets. Not only insinuating, go shoot someone else, but here's the ammunition to do it. But I digress. Then after waiting for those two shooters to get in the car at the scene, this cousin then drove the getaway car from the scene with two other related teenage girls who initially drove them there to do the shooting, but aren't charged with rendering criminal before or after the fact, accessory, obstruction, nothing. But we'll get to that silver Prius later too. Now all five of them stopped at the Maverick and picked up one of the shooters. On top of that, this cousin is not mandated to come to court, has continuously violated release conditions numerous times. This is the same cousin, same one who recorded my son being killed, then sent pictures of his body to his mom before or after posting his dead body so all the rest of the Blitz members can see what they did to my son because the cousin is the Blitz gang leader. Now, I bet that was a lot to take in, and you may need to go back and listen again, but in the next few videos, I'll read directly from the case report so all names will be known, so stay tuned. I told you can't make this shit up. A fucking living nightmare. You know, honestly, I'm thankful that I didn't find out at that moment that my son had been killed. You know, my mind was already racing, and it will always and forever be that those few minutes were the last bit of peace, ironically, in the unknown I had before the storm. But not knowing that he was murdered, I called around hospitals across 3 cities and found out 2 gunshot victims were brought into Richland Hospital. Now, I wasn't able to get any names or descriptions. The victim prepping for surgery was uncooperative with the nurses, yet the police had the suspects right at the hospital, who were wanted for a kidnapping charge out of Kennewick, Washington, but the 2 suspects were treated as victims after being interviewed by the police. Can we say someone has egg on their face? The suspects were then discharged from the hospital. And you're not going to believe this one. On the very next day, the suspects called the very police officers searching for suspects, asking officers to help them locate their car after they ditched it and fled. And those are their words. Now, after searching the area for 2 hours, police found the suspect's car and towed it, but the suspects were then allowed to flee to Spokane. Fine Pasco police work, if you ask me, the best. The Blitz gang really blitzed the city, and it's amazing the Tri-Cities can let teenagers, kids barely old enough to drive, run amok, murder, gangbang, and sell drugs. But it's not a crisis, and we know why. And I'll get back to that whole hospital fiasco later. But this is when I received a call from my mother to tell me that my son, Denali Anderson, was gone. How do you even process that? What happened? Who did it? Where was he? 20 years of memories of raising my son from day one flashing before my eyes in slow motion, all the while in disbelief, automatically blaming myself in a state of total helplessness. But hours go by, and I don't remember sleeping until the next night. My first call was to the first responding officer, Officer Dillsworth, the only person throughout this whole tragedy who spoke with compassion and gave me as much details and information as he could, then directed me to contact the lead detective. I called the detective with no answer, left a voicemail and told him what I heard 900 miles away. Hours later, I called again, left another voicemail asking for a return phone call. Tuesday, about 48 hours later, I get a call back from the detective. I asked if he caught the suspects or do they have anyone in custody. He basically tells me as a father he's not going to tell me anything. So I say, okay. I gave him the names. Again, I mentioned in the voicemail. He says he'll look into it. I'm definitely getting the point. I see where this is going. So I kindly asked if I could be notified when someone was arrested. And he didn't even have to tell me the names, just tell me you got someone. And he says someone will contact you. 15 months later to this day, he hasn't called and won't return a call to me. But one of my family members finally spoke with the detective, and he told her not to tell him how to do his job by telling him who to investigate, and hung up on her. And it's recorded. We got receipts, y'all. And our tax dollars pay for this kind of professionalism to serve and protect our rights. I can tell you where those tax dollars aren't going, because in a span of a few months from April 22 to October 22, in the Tri-City area of Washington, Blitz gang members killed a 17-year-old kid in April 22. June 22 killed a 16-year-old kid, and those were the suspects let go at the hospital in Denali's case. In August 22, killed my son, Denali Anderson. Then those suspects kill an 18-year-old kid in October 22. Are we starting to see a pattern? Again, I'm not saying anything you can't find in any online article. In my son's case, no one was arrested until August 12th, 6 days after the murder. Yet police had videos, pictures, and names of suspects that very night of the murder who were never interviewed or arrested. And, unfortunately, someone else was murdered by the city. Prosecutors let suspects go without notifying the family, a clear violation of our Washington state victims' rights. Listen to how the judge, who's compassionate for criminals, talks to a father of a murdered child. I like to say peace to my son, my brother, my friend. I walk in your strength, legacy, and power today and every day.